Hello and welcome to Immortal Behaviour for this week.
Many ways to win a game. Get your team home as a halfback. He won the game with his kicking game.
Andrew kicks back and across. It has been a freakish kick by Andrew John.
I thought he'd maybe retire, but forgive me, Father, for I have said.
Maybe God has come to Marathon.
Well, hello and welcome to our grand final week edition of Immortal Behaviour, and we are brought to you by Tab. Joey, how are you feeling?
Excited.
Yeah.
Excited. Excited also that it's about to finish.
What do you have planned for Monday?
Straight out of there. Freddie wanted me to stay around for the kangaroo reunion, so I apologise, but every year, next day, flying out.
Holidays.
Yeah.
Can you tell us where you're off to, or it's a surprise?
Surprise.
You don't want people following you?
No.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll get an update on it later. But we are looking forward to this weekend because this is going to be, I think a lot of people are expecting this to be such a epic grand final. As you said a lot during the week, it's the two best teams that are going head to head. Do you think this is going to be one that we remember for many years?
Yeah, I think it'll be one of the greats without a doubt. I think there's going to be a lot of storylines during the game. And it's very rare, well not very rare, but it doesn't happen that long that the two best teams actually play against each other. I think back to the 90s, the early to mid 90s, if we had a Broncos Canberra grand final, they would have been epics. But this is going to be a classic. I can't wait for it. Fine weather, fast track. There's been a few barbs thrown too, which is very unlike it.
And we're going to get into that.
I like it.
Yes. All right, well, let's talk about the grand final week. Of course, we have Bellamy last night, and Jahrome Hughes, the winner. It was a narrow one in the end. What did you make of this one?
Well, once again, the two players fighting it out, Jahrome Hughes and Tedesco, have been the most consistent players all year, and Jahrome Hughes definitely deserves it. He's been the most consistent and the best player all year. And for people at the moment to be saying that he's playing better than Nathan Cleary is probably the biggest rap he can get.
It was really interesting listening to Craig Bellamy on stage last night. He was talking about the year that Jarome's had, and he puts it a lot down to confidence.
Yeah.
He says that he's finally started to believe that little bit more in himself. How much better have you seen him, or what have you seen him improve this year?
Well, just everything is decision making, and look, everyone talks about that age between sort of 26, 27 to your early 30s is for a halfback that sweet spot. He's in there. Once again, Jahrome Hughes is just an example of how great a coach Craig Bellamy is. I have no doubt now he is the greatest coach who's ever coached rugby league. He went down to Melbourne as a fullback or a utility player, played one or two games for the Titans and the Cowboys. They get him down there, turn him into a halfback, and now he's spoke about as one of the best players in the world. And at the moment, his form's better than Nathan Cleary, wins the Dally M. But he knows his game. His game's based around run first, and when he does run, he's devastating. He just knows his game, and also the combinations between him and Harry and Munster and Pappenhausen. Played a lot of footy together, but totally deserves it, and he's at the top of his game.
So to be considered one of the all-time greats then in our game, do you have to have received the Dally M medal? Because Munster, Cleary, they haven't.
Yeah, I don't think so. It comes down also, if you look at Melbourne, they take points off each other. So Harry and Munster especially, and Jahrome all sort of poll well. And same at Penrith with Nathan. Nathan's probably been busted. He hasn't played every game.
Well, he missed so many.
Carried a lot of injuries, but also Isaiah Yeo would take points off him, Dylan Edwards would take points off him. So no.
Which makes this win for Jahrome even probably more incredible, considering the players that he has around him who would have taken points off him.
I think we're in a place where the game has never been in a better place. Crowds are up, TV ratings are off the charts, and it's a great spectacle. The game's in a great spot. So at the moment, to win a Dally M, the way the game's going, it's a great honour and a great achievement. All
right, let's talk about the niggle. The little sort of the barbs off the field that we've seen in the build-up to this grand final. Liam Martin, Cameron Munster. So Munster saying that the two don't really like each other. Bit of friction there.
Well, you got two different personalities. You got Liam Martin, who was the Ducks at the school, and you got Munster. In all respect,
he was the naughty kid.
He was the village idiot. And I think Munster's playing the game. I think he's trying to, throw some base at Liam, and Liam's probably too smart for that. He's fired back a little bit intelligently. He hasn't sort of gone right off, but they play on the same side of the field. I have no doubt Munster's trying to get inside of his head, which Liam's too smart for that. The Ducks at the school doesn't fall for that.
So then on the field...
And Liam went to a school with only 6 kids. I'm joking. I think his mum was a school teacher.
I think she was, yeah.
But honestly, looking at those eyes of Liam Martin, how there is actually a brain that works behind there. It's just that 80 minutes on the field. I love it at the kick-off when they put the camera on him and the eyes are literally going like that. He's mad.
On the field though, who holds their cool? So if you've got 2 players, so you've got Munster and you've got Liam sort of niggling at each other, who loses their head first?
I don't think any of them, no. Munster would love it. I think he'd love the
getting under
the personal battle and getting under their skin and the argy-bargy and the sledging. And Liam's just too smart for it. He wouldn't play along with it. They'll come together on the field. Interesting comments, but that they didn't get on
in Kangaroos camp.
And that goes on.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because it's an interesting thing. You've got in the regular season, you've got teams coming up against each other, the best players coming up against each other. They would hate other people that they're coming up against, and then in Kangaroos time, you've got the best players from the whole competition who then have to go, stay.
I've been a part of where there's
so that's what I want to know. Who has hated each other on your?
In '95, at the height of Newcastle and Manly's hatred, which was driven by Paul Harrigan and Spud, were all on tour. I can remember one time we were somewhere and myself and Matthew were with Spud and we're having a laugh and a giggle, and I looked over and Chief Paul Harrigan's just staring at me and I just went, oh. And look, they put it aside, but there was always that animosity between the two. And the other one was Gordon Tallis and Ben Kennedy, both very, very strong alpha males, and they used to go at it on the field. There was times at training where it'd get very tasty.
Can you tell us?
No. So they'd yell out, Joey, Lockie, come and swig it out. Come on, boys, just settle down. Imagine Gordon's eyes and then Ben Kennedy's eyes.
What about when you say not on the training field? When you're on Kangaroos camp, you've had a win or something, and you're going out afterwards. Would it continue there, or was after?
Well, you wouldn't see some guys. I'm trying to think who else. There was Adam McDougall and Wendell. They used to go at it all the time. And then on one tour, they formed this allegiance, and then they turned it on Matt Rogers, and it was hilarious. And once again, Adam McDougall was too smart for Wendell, so Dukes would load the bullets, and Wendell would fire it. Wendell would be there going, look at us, the strongest players in the game, me and the Mad Dog. What are you doing here, Matt Rogers? Look at you, you're a string bean. And we'd be all pissing ourselves laughing. And Dukes would be just in the background. It was a funny dynamic.
What would Matt Rogers say?
I couldn't say anything. Shut up, Wendell. But it was all sort of good fun, but a little bit of niggle.
Well, then how interesting is it going to be if, you see Munster and Lee Martin back on Kangaroos camp?
They'll be professional. They'll you watch after the game, they'll shake hands and there'll be a laugh. They'll be fine.
All right, what about Coach of the Year last night? Craig Bellamy. You said before he's the best coach
without a doubt
you've ever seen. This is no surprise.
Well, look at the players who go down there and they all leave better players. Well, they all become better players. Not many players leave Melbourne. It's only the real superstars, I suppose, who have left. Cronk, Israel Folau, Greg Inglis. Off the top of my head, maybe Ryan Hoffman left too, went to the Warriors. But you never hear a player bag Craig Bellamy. No, I've never heard a player bag. Where other coaches, the great coaches, you can hear players, putting a bit of SHIT on them. I've never heard a player bag Craig Bellamy. And he's an innovator. He changed the game. They had to change the rules. I hate the wrestling, but that's what he was, an innovator there. They've lost future immortals, they've lost champion players, but there's never been a rebuild. There has never been a rebuild. Other clubs lose one or maybe two legends and they just dip like that, not the Storm. And the way the team has evolved and changed, and the way he's coached the team with different players in the key positions. If you watch Melbourne 10 years ago when the big three were playing, they're unrecognisable from how they play now. He is just, without doubt, he's got everything. He's a man manager, he works hard, he's an innovator, his game plans are just second to none. Everyone knows their job, he keeps it simple. And what he does with front row is he gets guys on the scrap heap. He got, who was the guy? He was at Wagga Kangaroos. He was captain coach of Wagga, and I just can't think of his name. Brian Norrie. There, pulled that from somewhere. He was captain coach of Wagga Kangaroos. He gets him down, plays him front row, gives him a job, small job. He wins a premiership with Brian Norrie. And so many players he's got down there, especially forwards on the scrap heap. Josh King, he was at Newcastle, and all respect to Josh, he was sort of treading water there. He was a tradesman-like player. Nick Mooney was another one. He was in and out of first grade at Newcastle. Went to Canterbury, same thing. Gets down there. He's a marvel. Totally deserves Coach of the Year.
And also too the fact that he's such a nice person as well, and they all get along with him. They all have so much respect for him. They all get along with him off the field, but then they have respect for him when it comes to it, and he's such a fair person. But
I remember asking him about some philosophies and stuff. He goes, I'd never ask a player to do something I would never do. And they trust him. He trusts them. They work hard. We all know they work hard. There's no whinging. And they recruit on character. If the Melbourne Storm sign a player, he's actually told me this, and they go back to the school, they'll find the principal, school teachers, they go to junior coaches, they go to people within the area where they grow up, and if there's one or two people say, he's a bit of a dick, they don't sign it. If they get a young guy and they bring him down, he takes them to a cafe. If they don't say please or thank you, he doesn't care how good they are, you're not a part. They recruit on character, and then they educate them. It's an amazing model on the way they've built a club down there and sustained success.
So obviously Bellamy he's got next year, and he gets to choose at the how many years he then gets to. Every year he gets to choose whether he coaches on to the next year. How long do you see him coaching?
I hope he does it for another 5 years at least. What's he going to do? He's got no hobbies. Doesn't play golf.
But he's got grandkids. He's
got that competitive monster inside of him. He's in at work every day at 5 a.m. and he trains and prepares. And look, he's a workaholic, and that's what he loves doing. I think if and when he finishes, there'll be a hole there. There'll be a hole there. And obviously he's got grandkids, and obviously, but I think there's still fire in the belly. I'd love to see him go around for a few more years.
Another few years, okay. Do you think that we will though?
You know what? I've got a feeling that when he does finish, he might go back into rep coaching, coach the Blues, something like that.
Well, I mean they're on the lookout for a new coach, so who knows? What about Ivan, the opposition coach, when he came back to Penrith? Did you ever think that he could achieve what they have so far?
I don't think we'll ever see it again in my lifetime. Team playing, it's their fifth grand final in a row. With the salary cap. And look at the players they've lost over the years. Just Stephen Crichton, Kickow, Appy Coruscant, Matt Burton, I can keep going, Spencer Lee. The players that are left now, the best players in the competition. If we didn't have the salary cap, they might do the St George, have won so many in a row. I don't think we'll ever see it again in our lifetime. And it's a credit to everyone in the club, and led by Ivan Cleary. And look, Gus did a great job, we know that. The junior system, the junior coaches, right through the club. They're all pulling in one direction, and it shows.
Yeah. Well done to them, even before the grand final, just to achieve this feat. It's just incredible. Especially when Nathan went down this year.
I didn't think they were no chance last year. But their key players get it done, and the foot soldiers around them, they know their job. It's very similar to the Melbourne Storm. They got an amazing spine, and they put the foot soldiers around them.
I rewatched that last year's grand final the other day.
Nathan's final 17 minutes. It's a masterclass. Best 17 minutes I've seen. I actually called him a couple of weeks after it. enjoy. I said, mate, I've got to say as a halfback, it's the greatest 17 minutes I've seen by a halfback, and it was in the grand final, and you got him home. I still marvel at it.
What did he say?
Thanks. Pretty ice cold, Nathan. You don't get much out of him.
Iceman. All right, let's go through the spine and compare some of the positions. So who wins the battle between fullback? Dylan Edwards, Ryan Pappenhausen.
Well, I did in my award-winning column today.
I haven't read it
it's
yet.
It's in crayon. I got every player in the spine, both teams, and I rated them out of 10. So the fullbacks, I got Dylan Edwards a 9 out of 10 and Pappenhausen an 8. Now Pappenhausen will be more, but he's had injuries. Very different players, totally different players. Dylan Edwards plays like an extra front rower, does a lot of work in attack, a lot of the tough work, where Pappenhausen is more of a support player and plays more like a 5'8" in attack, and he's a threat down the run side especially. Watch for him attacking the gaps between Luai and Luke Garner. Last week, him and Hughes really worked over the gap between Angus Crichton and Cleary, and they got 3 or 4 tries out of it. Both champion players, but both totally different players.
What about 5'8" Cam Munster, Jahrome Luai?
Well, I got Munster a 10 out of 10, and I got Jahrome a 9 out of 10. Very similar players, both instinctive, both run first, both play on the left-hand side of the field, left foot steppers. Both champion players. I've been totally surprised when Nathan's been out what Jahrome Luai has done as a halfback. Freddie and Gus have been telling me for years. I never saw him as a halfback, but once again I was wrong. Different players. I think Cam Munster's probably a touch in front because he's a big game player. And those big moments, he'll want the ball, where I think the really big moments for Penrith, the ball goes to Nathan.
All right, well, speaking of Nathan, the battle of the halfbacks, Jahrome Hughes, Nathan Cleary.
Well, I got Nathan a 10, and I got Jahrome probably a 9.5. Both at the top of their game, both champion halfbacks, so influential in their team, but both very different. Jerome's very much a run threat. Think run first. And Nathan is more controlled, and the way Nathan plays with Isaiah Yeo, once they get in a good ball, Nathan plays the second layer of attack. Isaiah Yeo plays to him, and then he plays on the right to Dylan Edwards, and then when they go to the left side, Yeo plays to Nathan and he plays to Luai. So they got that 3-prong attack either side. The real key to their attack is Isaiah Yeo when they get in good ball. Interesting, I'm intrigued how Melbourne handle it and how their defensive structure is on Yeo. I think they'll really rush him from the outside, but Munster and Jahrome Hughes really rushing him to try to spook him. Both champions, but both also very different players.
And finally, battle of the hookers, Mitch Kenny and Harry Grant.
Well, I got Mitch Kenny a 7, tough as they come, and Harry Grant. Now, the difference between these two, Mitch Kenny does a lot more of the hard work defensively, attacks kickers, works hard from marker, his tackle count's right up. Where Harry, he does that, but he's got more strings to his bow. Harry's more of a runner. I very rarely see Mitch Kenny run the ball. It pretty much distributes to Yeo or Nathan. Where Harry's a real run threat. He's got a bit of a kicking game, Harry, close to the line. Mitch hasn't got much of a kick. Harry Grant is... he's a champion. He's above a champion. By the time he finishes, he'll be up there with the greatest dummy halves there is. At the moment, he's top 3. Nathan, you go
Harry.
Cameron and Badiris, and I think Harry's around Bedsy.
Yeah.
He'll get very close. He won't go past Cameron, but Warren Ryan, who is a genius, he rates him right up there. He reckons by the time he finishes, he'll be neck and neck with Cameron. And that's saying something.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, what's your tip? So we're going to go tip, margin, and Clive Churchill.
I've got Storm by 8. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think both teams defend so well. I think to win this, there's been blowouts this year in the semi-finals last week. Melbourne scored 48. I think 20 points wins this game, 18 to 20 points. So I think lowish scoring game. Storm by 8. And I got Clive Churchill Munster. I think he's going to explode. Munster hasn't he's missed the Origin, which is huge. In
Oh,
2001 when we missed it.
He'll be so fired
2001 when we won it, I missed the whole Origin series. I missed about 10, 12 weeks. Coming to the end of the year, I was so fresh. And then other years, when playing a lot of the games, coming to the end of the year, I was busted. 2002, 2003. It's so hard. You look at players, you look at sort of some of the Roosters players. Angus had a huge Origin series, and I think his form towards the end dipped. Spencer Leniu also. It's so hard. The Origin series this year was just out of this world. Well, it takes so much out of you.
You look at Nathan and Munster. It's sort of similar. They've both spent time out on the sidelines, getting injuries better, but giving the rest of their body a rest as well.
Huge.
All right,
physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Nathan, shoulder, Rico, broken hand. It is as tough as they come.
Who's your tip for NRLW?
I think
grand
without
final?
doubt this is the biggest moral of the day. I got Roosters 13 plus. I called that game last week against Newcastle. They blew them away.
Yeah.
And Newcastle were on their way to a three-peat. Roosters, they'll win and win well.
All right, and we're going to finish the show with a final travel tip. So we've done this a few times throughout the year.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going on holidays.
I'm going Monday. I've already packed my bags.
Yeah. Oh, so okay.
Yeah.
That's your travel tip.
And I go to the chemist all the time and get stuff for ailments. For instance, if you were going to Bali, you take tablets which 90% cut out gastro and Bali belly, so stuff like that. Get hydrolytes if you're going to those countries, just to hydrate all the time, especially if you're surfing and exercising. And get something on a plane that relaxes you.
See, I get too worried about that because my thought process is, what if there's a mid-air emergency and I need to be at my...
If you're mellow, you're just sweet. Oh, the plane's going to crash, you gives a rat's ass.
See, I want to be getting off the plane. This is why I don't sleep on planes.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, and before we wrap up the show, a bit of a teaser for our opener on Sunday.
The opener, you'll see this a few minutes before kickoff.
Yeah.
And I've orchestrated it. Along with Turn It Up, the creativity in this brain is just, it's out there. Yeah, we've got an absolute highest profile Australian doing this from England.
Wow.
He goes to the birthplace of rugby league at Huddersfield.
Wow.
You won't do see it.
I haven't seen it, so I'm now excited for it.
Twirl your mo, it's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
it's as good as it gets.
It'll get the spine,
Oh yeah, I've just watched it then. It's just so good.
Oh, I can't wait.
And he or she, I'm not giving it away, is a massive, massive Storm fan.
Okay, all right. We'll tune in. We're going to have a huge day on Sunday.
It's not Donald Trump. And it's not Joe Biden.
It's not Joe Biden.
We didn't
either.
wake him up to do it.
No?
It's not Kamala either. Yeah.
So it's maybe someone.
Well,
is it an Aussie or is it?
It's an Aussie.
It's an Aussie. Okay.
It's Churchillian-like.
Okay.
It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. So
Could it be Russell maybe? Okay, all right, we'll have to wait and see. A huge day Sunday. We'll be out there for Sunday footy show in the morning.
We're out there for a doubler. It's a long, long day. But I can't wait. I like the Queensland, New South Wales Cup, Queensland Cup.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
It's really good. It'll be a great day of footy.
Yeah.
Great day of footy.
So scrap your plans all day Sunday. Tune in, Channel 9 Wide World of Sports from 11 a.m.
Send the kids to the penny parlour, give them a heap of money, let them play. There's no penny parlours anymore,
What the hell's a penny parlour?
Back in the day when your dad would go to the pub, he'd just give you that much 20-cent pieces and you just go and play pinballs and Space Invaders all day.
Oh, yeah, like a time zone.
Yeah. Back in the day, the penny parlour.
The penny parlour.
Yeah.
I've never seen a penny parlour.
Well, you're a bit younger than me.
Just a tad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for Immortal Behaviour throughout the year, and we cannot wait to catch you all on Sunday as well.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights. Action. 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour. Grab a seat on the couch for that. And, of course, my favourite, Freddie in the Eight.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm. Subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.